Hi, my name is Richard. Second name is Wherlock. Ballet is my profession, direction is my job, and choreographer is my passion. And I'm the director and the choreographer of this wonderful company called Ballet Theater Basel.
Hi, my name is Jahre. I am Associate Artistic Director of the company. Yes, I met Richard leaving the Conservatoire of Paris. I was looking for a job and I randomly ended up in Hagen. I didn't know where to audition. I just heard there was a company. I went there, I was a director at the time, I auditioned and I fell. But I think he liked me, so he told me to just work a little bit harder, a little bit longer, and to try again later. And I went to the Ballet Junior of Geneva for 2 years to improve my contemporary dance technique, as in the Conservatoire I was in ballet. And I just heard that he was taking over Lucerne, and I just went to audition and he gave me a job.
I first met Richard when he was the director in Lucerne and I a dancer in Zurich. I remember being immediately impressed at how approachable he was and quickly feeling at home with him. Some years later, when he began his directorship in Basel, I got a wonderful call from him asking me if I would join the company in Basel, and the rest is history.
The first time I met Richard was in 2003 and I had just become director of Kullberg Ballet. He invited us to one of his festivals in the theater that he was holding at the time. And then Richard was actually the first one once I stopped Kullberg. He was the first one to call me. So I remember clearly being in Stockholm and not knowing about how exactly the future would be, and I received this phone call from him, and it was the beginning of my career as a freelance choreographer.
My tradition comes from the Ballet Rambert. And Ballet Rambert was a school that fed a company, and a company that had a repertoire system, and always challenging the dancers with many different types of dance, ranging from the classical themes through to the what is actually going on today. And that's what's so very important amongst our team, is that everybody has a speciality, but all together we work in that team for one goal. And as I work for many different people who I didn't agree with their opinions, I thought that maybe approaching this company, and it's taken me through many different generations of dancers that I've worked through and with many different choreographers that work with this company, to really make a difference about respect, and about respect of how people feel in their approach to their work, regardless of sex, creed, skin color, religion, whatever, is that everybody has an equal opportunity. Therefore, that's why I've always maintained that we have an ensemble. We don't have a grading system, we don't have a hierarchy. I've worked in companies many times where there's a hierarchy. And for me, it was most important to have a reservoir of talent.
It's not just the look, but also the level of and the quality of the dancers that is different, and that makes it interesting. Hi, my name is Cristiana Sciabordi, and I'm ballet mistress with Ballet Theater Basel. The versatility of the dancers. We have different levels in the company of technique, of backgrounds, of age. And this is what it's interesting, I think, for any choreographer, because what Richard always says is the box of chocolate, and it really is like that. We have all kinds of dancers. You can really choose different type of people.
The company has always been made up of a community of international female and male artists from all over the world. Richard has always had an eye for talent, whether it was the dancers and the artists he invited or the repertoire he brought to the company.
I came and I immediately felt very connected to the dancers, and I felt very home, not only with the dancers but also in the theater. And there was something about the theater and its environment and Richard that just made me feel immediately at home and very welcome. I think the dancers are, of course, they have a high technical standard but I've also met great artists. I think it's always been a balance in between great technical dancers and with artistry, and that for me is important.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm an assistant of the Hofschechter company. To be honest, I think the love of people is really what I felt, and I think that comes from Richard, basically. So I feel from the beginning, like when I arrived, it's that the group is human, they're responsive, they're interested, they're curious, and I felt that connection more than just dancers being good soldiers, doing what's been taught, and that was, I don't know, that was like a fresh kind of wind. It was really nice.
I think this is one of our strongest points, is exactly the repertoire that we have. It's so various. There's all kinds of styles, and this is incredibly demanding for everyone. For the dancers, first of all, because they have to switch from 1 hour to the next into different styles.
I consider myself a very, very privileged person in the way that I selected a profession that's really, from my background of coming from a very, very basic working class background of coal miners, where my profession was not necessarily welcome at home, shall we say, and a lot of stigmas in all the different areas that I lived in my hood. And that led me, and I think that gave me an incredible drive, and always left me with a very, very good inspiration about always looking for the underdog, giving the underdog always a possibility. And that's not to undermine dogs, and it's not to overestimate anything to do with any other form of the animal species.
He was the person that gave me my first dance opportunity. So, and I was very young, I was 19, and he didn't just give me my first opportunity. I came at the bottom of the ladder, and then in a year or two I climbed to being one of his main dancers, and he trusted me a lot, made me dance. He's one of the persons that I met during my career that was there for me. There's still a respect and a looking up, but at the same time I come as a guest and I'm treated as a guest. So it's kind of strange and good, and you feel you can give something back. Like this is kind of like, that's the first time I ever went on stage professionally, and now I'm setting something up for his company.
I danced for Richard for 7 years. And one thing that always stuck out to me was how much he was interested in his dancers as people. Richard really helped me by not only giving me opportunities to improve my teaching, but also by helping me make connections that would help me establish myself as a teacher. He really gave me the push forward that I needed in order to make the next step and to be able to continue my journey after my dance career.
This is my second time working with Ballet Basel, and it's a wonderful experience to be able to return and work again with familiar bodies and energies. At the same time, also have the opportunity to work with new ones, so you hope that you can reach new levels of complexities, which I think are very important to growth.
Richard, as director, is always trying to update himself to what not just the market, but what the dance public wants to see. And he's done that very slowly. He really educated the public here in Basel, always looking for new names, also not just the established one. He tried very hard to be, if not the first one, with the first ones to invite new choreographers.
I think he has influenced the future in such a way that he has constantly invited not only known choreographers but also unknown choreographers, and has taken the risk and the chance to try young talents. And I think that is preparing the future of dance, with having the guts and the vision to invite young choreographers.
And in the studio, it was really funny, very free, very cheeky.
Beautiful. That was good. No, I'm sorry, I don't misunderstand me.
Guys, hold on a second. I want to check something.
I know. I'm too quick. You don't recognize anything I'm doing. I tried one more time, but I just tried a little bit. If you can give me the music, and I'll just...
He really wanted us to have fun, so it was, when you're a young man and you end up with a director like that, it was kind of, you can actually have fun.
I think what's special about Richard is his humanity. You know, this job is so hard, and to put extra stuff on top, you don't need. And I think he makes this job a lot easier by the way he is.
Without a doubt, Richard makes the Ballet Basel team special. It's through an atmosphere of openness he has created and directed over the years, which has influenced the company's success and how the company has developed.
What I find special about Richard is that he's a no-nonsense man. I adore him. I think he's an extremely generous person that always thinks of other people before himself, and I think that's a beautiful quality.